We bought this house in 2018 and we moved here permanently with our two boys, who were then 8 and 10, in 2019. And that's when we started the renovations of our 150-year-old French farmhouse, which is in Burgundy. We first started by converting the former stables into a holiday home, so we could live there while we were doing the renovations of the rest of the house. We then got the idea to build a cabin, which is all the way back. You can't even see it behind the trees, that we now rent as an Airbnb, and the cottage right there, we rent that as an Airbnb as well. And then we started converting the barn into our family's dream home. That started 3 years ago, and the first thing to be finished is our kitchen. I know that many of you who've been following our journey for a while are very anxious to see the result. So let's go in and I'll show you around. Welcome to my dream kitchen. This has been 3 years in making, but I have seen this kitchen in my head ever since we bought the house. As I said, it was in 2018. And in this kitchen, I have tried to put everything that I love, but also since I cook for guests and I make breakfast for our guests, I have tried to make it as functional as possible. This little breakfast prep zone is really, I think, very functional and practical and beautiful at the same time. I have everything here that I need to prepare breakfast for my guests. So all the little dishware that I use, all the little plates that I use. There's also all the nice decor things that I use to present the breakfast that are in these drawers. But I really love having all of this super easily at hand, all the toppings that I use for all the different dishes that I have. And I'm just very, very happy with this corner. If you're a cook or you like cooking as much as I do, you probably know what I mean. And if you like brocante as much as I do, you are going to love my brocante vaisselier. So the place where I keep all of the beautiful brocante that I found over the past 5 years. Let's go. If you've been following, you know that these are actually not doors. They are old windows that we sourced or that we thrifted or that we salvaged from a farmhouse maybe 10-15 minutes away from here. And the guy was changing all of his windows, and so he sold this to us. What I like is that they have the original, they call this a crémone, so that's the original hardware that you would find on old French windows. I absolutely love them. We sanded these and then spray painted them black. I think that works really, really well. And I just love knowing that I have everything so easily accessible now. And I think, see, there's one bowl missing. My son actually made lunch. They're waiting for me to come have lunch. They're so easily accessible now that you will use these every day. And if you've been following me for a while, you know how important I think it is to surround yourself with beauty and to use the beautiful items that you have. Do not keep them for special occasions, because we tend to think most occasions aren't special enough. So they end up like, I mean, I was lucky to find these because they were in somebody's cupboard. It was probably a wedding gift and they were never used. And then the person passes away and they end up in a house, and that's where I get them. But I really want to use this every day. I think that's important, and this is really the most happy thing for me to be looking at all day. I am really, really happy with this and with how it turned out, thanks to the amazing craftsmanship of my husband Olaf. All credits to him for turning this into this perfect vaisselier that I designed for him. The other thing that inevitably needed to be in this kitchen, of course, is our Lacanche range cooker. I don't know how you call it, because the village of Lacanche is literally the next village. So a lot of people that we know work there. It's the pride of this region. And of course, I have come to love it. I've had one in the cook's cottage, and we've used the cottage for a while to live there while we were doing this renovation. So I know how much I love it. It cooks so beautifully, very different from any other oven that I've had. So it takes a little getting used to. And I've done a couple of things differently with this Lacanche. So this one is a little bigger. I have an extra oven, which is not a full oven. It is what they call une armoire chaude. It's an oven, but it doesn't have the full power of a full oven. It's not meant to be that way. It's meant, for example, to preheat your plates. You can have your bread dough rise in there. You can do some things, of course. You can cook some things like meringue that don't need a high temperature. You can also keep your dishes warm in there, which was my main reason to get it, because I was thinking, you know, I'll be cooking for more people. You know, once things are done, I can put them in there, I can heat the plates up, and yeah, I just thought that was practical. And I also took this, what they call plaque coup de feu, a cast iron plate that heats up. There's a huge burner underneath here. And I have basically chosen that because we will have a wood-fired stove in this space as well, and I'll probably be cooking on that all winter, and this cooks the same as a wood-fired stove. But what I mean by that is you basically heat this plaque up, and then depending on how far away or how close to the center you put your pan, it's going to be hotter or less hot. And that's how you cook on a wood-fired stove as well. So I thought I might get into that habit and find it practical to be cooking that way on this gas stove as well. Time will tell whether that is actually a good choice, but I wanted to try that. For me to have this under the window, which is such a classic. And I recently saw a video of an interior designer who said, don't put your sink under the window. And her reasoning was that we spend most time in the kitchen prepping food rather than actually doing dishes. So you want to have your window where you're prepping your food. I am not having any of that. One, because when I'm prepping food, I need to keep my eyes on my knife and my vegetables. I am not going to look outside the window, and I actually do a lot of dishwashing still, because when I cook, I also bake a lot, so then I tend to be doing a lot of rinsing and washing dishes anyway, and this was just my dream. I wanted to have this view of our beautiful garden, and also this will be really convenient because our dinner table outside is right on the other side of this window, so we can be passing the dishes and the dirty dishes and the meals and the bread and everything through this window, which I thought was very convenient. And also thanks to my husband again, because this was a little part of the barn where the previous owners had made a very crappy bedroom by just making a simple concrete wall, and they had already put this window in, but it was like all the way to the front, and then we wouldn't be able to have the sink here because the windows wouldn't be able to open, so he put that all the way back. And now I have a very large windowsill where I'm actually trying to get something to root that my friend gave me from her garden, but it just gives this very, I think, very nice countryside vibe that I absolutely love. The sink is thrifted, so it doesn't look new. I absolutely wanted this one. I wanted to have this drying part here and then a very simple, very shallow sink, because that's just what I feel is most practical. And they don't really sell these anymore, so I was happy to find them online somewhere for 50 euros or something. It has stains and everything in it, but I bought a brand new one from a very expensive brand when we built the cabin, and that one was all stained as well after only a few months. So I can't really be bothered with it not looking brand new. The other thing that I really wanted is have a tap with two different levers. Is that what you call it? Because when I'm cooking, I know that I'll have my hands dirty and I just want to be able to turn it on like that. And also I don't want to be using warm water when I don't necessarily need to. And I think a lot of these mixed taps, you turn it on, but it's always, you turn the lever and this way is hot and that way is cold, but I think you use a lot of hot water without really needing to. And then the last thing that I really like about this little corner is the little curtain that we put here. So this has all the things you don't want to be seen. And I just thought this gave the kitchen more of a farmhouse look, because when we were installing all the cabinets, and especially when we installed the marble countertops, it's like, oh, it looks way too expensive, it looks way too high-end. It looks like something we would have had in our house in the Netherlands, and it does need to keep that farmhouse feel. So these little details, you hate it or you love it, instantly give it the farmhouse feel, I think, that I was looking for. When you work on your design, so maybe you're designing a space right now, this is something maybe to keep in mind. It's not just having spent time in the space so that you know how you use the space. It also teaches you how you move through your space or how you move through your day. And it tells you exactly where clutter seems to end up all the time, or where you naturally want to put stuff like your phone or your car keys. And I know we will always use this back door. This goes into our veranda, our sunroom, and then out into our garden to our parking that's behind the house. We will never use that front door unless just 5 seconds ago when La Poste, the mailman, arrives and comes to bring the parcel. But other than that, that's a door that we're not using as a front door. You can have this ideal view of, I want all of us to use that door now. I want everybody to put their shoes here. I want everybody to put their coats there. But the reality is that most of the time, people will do what they've always done. It takes 28 days to turn a new action into a habit, or to form a new habit. My family and I never make it past 5 days, or we try something new. So it's no use trying to make everybody put their shoes and car keys and keys where I intended. I know everybody's going to put their shoes in the sunroom, so we'll have our old kitchen that will be our mudroom in the future. And then I know everybody's going to come in and just throw the key either here, which would be logical, but it's probably going to end up on the kitchen island, because you're walking in and then you're just going to throw it there. That's why I put these hooks here, and it has this tiny little bag that I have told everybody to put their stuff in, and it works wonderfully so far. And I just want to give that as an example to you. So make sure that you have this collection place, I don't know if that's how you call it, at your entryway, the real entryway that you're using every day, so that people can put their keys and nothing gets lost. Don't try to change because you like a specific aesthetic or you like a specific design. I understand that you want to change the habits of you and your family, but it usually doesn't work. So it's better to incorporate what you're doing now in the most aesthetically pleasing way in your new design. For this kitchen, I have also added some copper touches that I wasn't all too sure about that I would like that or not, but just a few is actually perfect. So I have a few here. I have this old poissonnière, so that was used to cook fish, that I really like to put all my vinegar and my oil in, because this is a marble countertop. I have spent a lot of time thinking about what we needed to use for the countertops. We have Pierre de Bourgogne, so that's the original limestone that's from this region in the cottage, but it is extremely expensive. I know marble isn't cheap, but the limestone is really even more expensive. And it's nice for a holiday cottage that is used a different way, I think. I don't know if I would be so thrilled to have it in my own kitchen, because I think having a smoother surface is easier with cleaning. And I didn't want to have wood. I don't know why, I just didn't feel that. So then I just ended up with marble, and then you either take a real marble or a fake marble. And I fell in love with this real marble. We still need to put a treatment on it. I've got that ordered, so that needs to come in. And then the other thing, I have a kitchen table outside, a marble table that I have thrifted somewhere. That must be over 100 years old or something. That doesn't have any stains on it. And I was cooking outside before. I always put my olive oil, bottle on there, and for some reason it still stays very beautiful. And this is a kitchen that's lived in and used every day. So it doesn't need to look new every day. It doesn't need to look new still in 5 years. So we're just gonna give this, a go and see how this works out. I really love how this looks with the color, which is the last thing that I want to be talking about. The color, I have racked my brain, because I know we put Tomet's floor in. It's very orange pink, it's beautiful, it has a lot of different hues, but you can just take any color with that. It really asks for a very thought through design. I think usually when you don't know what to choose, just follow intuition. Like, what does your gut tell you? And I kept using all these samples with gray and blue and greens because I love them so much, and it just didn't work in this kitchen. And I ended up going with a very pale pink. So the color is by Ressource. It's their HEJU collection. HEJU, I think that's how you pronounce it, is a couple of architects from Paris, and they have a collection with this Ressource paint brand, and the color is Hêtre savonné, but I'll put it all in the description box. So yeah, I think it works really, really well. It doesn't look very pink, which, the 3 men in my household really appreciate, but I do think it works really well with the floor, and it just gives this kitchen an overall warm, cozy, country vibe. It's turned out, I was going to say exactly as I wanted, but that's not true. It's turned out more beautiful, to be honest, than I had hoped and wished for. And again, it is thanks to the amazing skill of my husband. Whatever I come up with, he's able to understand what I mean, because we've been together for I don't know how many years. So he knows when I say, oh, it needs to be softer, he knows exactly what I mean. And then we're able to draw a design that he's able to execute, and everything around me here just looks incredibly beautiful. So yeah, that's it for the kitchen tour, because I could talk forever about this. I'm hoping to be spending a lot of time in here and take you with me. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them if I can. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be back very soon.